Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video. And in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about 4 strategies to quit people pleasing. So this is a really important topic. And I think that sometimes when we have like chronic people pleasing habits or sort of like patterns, we don't realize how much this actually costs us. Like how much we say no to things or how much we say yes to things that we want to say no to, which can cost us time to spend on our own needs, on the types of relationships that really fulfill us, on our own hobbies or things that are important to us, our own mission, vision, life purpose, how much resentment this can bring into our relationship dynamics, how many expectations are likely to form as a result of us people pleasing and self-abandoning ourselves and then expecting that other people should show up in the same way. It's just naturally what the subconscious mind tends to do. How much conflict this brings us, how often we'll feel unseen and unheard when we're not making space for ourselves because we're so busy people pleasing, how much this can lead to chronic burnout for people over time, burnout from relationships, not just like in a workplace context. There's so many costs to this. So when we look at how to actually overcome these things, there's really important parts because consciously we may know, hey, people pleasing is not very good for us. It's not working, but we may find ourselves repeating those same habits over and over again. It's usually because there are subconscious forces at work and the conscious mind can't outwill or overpower the subconscious mind. So until we address those subconscious forces and programs that lead to those behavioral outputs, we are going to feel limited. So number one of the most important things is to actually learn to see yourself as much as you see others. What I find always is that people who are struggling with chronic people pleasing tend to empathize more with other people's emotions, feelings, needs, and be more hyper aware of those than their own in real time. Okay, so you may know your feelings and needs when you're on your own time, but like when you're actually with somebody, often you're seeing their perspective more than you're actually seeing your own perspective in real time. And until you learn to see yourself as much as you see others and take yourself into consideration equally to others because you notice your own feelings and needs, then what you'll do is you'll make sacrifices instead of compromises. Compromises means I put all my stuff on the table, you put all your stuff on the table, we find a healthy place halfway. People pleasing is like, I see what your stuff is that you're putting on the table, and I'm so busy noticing that I forget that I have stuff too. And so I just only focus on how to make your situation better. And then later I walk away from that conversation feeling frustrated. And a lot of this can be what takes place. So it's really about learning to see yourself as much as you see others. And it means getting in touch with your feelings and needs enough so that in real time you can have constructive conversations in this area. The second major strategy is that we have to learn to reprogram our fears about setting boundaries or saying no. So consciously, you may realize, hey, this is a really good idea. It's a time for me to say no to something, or something doesn't feel comfortable for me. But if because of past childhood experiences, we adopted painful subconscious programming, like if we learned, for example, that as a child, when we said no or set a boundary, we got punished or we got in trouble or we had love withheld or we were made to feel not good enough or like something was wrong with us, then we have those stored emotional associations next to those behavioral outputs. So essentially what that means is that when you have this like need to say no, you're going to have these programs triggered that are like, no, you should fear saying no because then those bad things will happen. The love will be withdrawn. You'll be made to feel not good enough. You'll be made to feel like a burden. You'll be abandoned, whatever it might be. And so until we actually can isolate personally what our individual fears are around setting boundaries, you're going to probably get into this push-pull pattern where your conscious mind is like, set a boundary, and your subconscious mind is like, I'm not that interested in setting a boundary. I would rather be liked or connected or whatever else it might be. Now, the really interesting thing is that a lot of the time people are not liked more because they're boundaryless. I find that in fact, it tends to work in the opposite direction. People tend to receive more respect, care, kindness when they share themselves, when they share their truth, what's really a no for them, what's really a yes for them, when they're authentic and really attuned to themselves and can allow themselves to be taken into consideration. So this is really important. And if you want to do a deeper dive, we have a course called Reprogramming Your Boundaries. And it's all, you can do this for free for 7 days. It's all about like how to find what your fears are, how to reprogram those fears, and then how to actually do boundary work, identify your boundaries in the 7 areas of life, understand the different types of boundaries that exist. So you can feel actually like comfortable and safe, and you'll feel better going out into the world because you'll actually feel like you have your own back. Like you can protect yourself, look out for yourself, assert yourself, and you'll feel calm and comfortable doing so instead of afraid and then worried after. So really, really important important. Now, the next piece here is then we have to do exposure work on boundaries. And that course contains that also. It gives you steps and tools to do exposure work. But really what this means is like being able to set boundaries in small increments over time. Whenever we become afraid and we've gone into people pleasing for so long, then basically what happens is we don't know how to like set a boundary, or it can feel like a lot, or it can feel scary. Or sometimes for people who are people pleasing, they won't set a boundary for so long, and then they set a boundary out of anger as opposed to being able to set a boundary in each moment, just out of a place of normalcy, like just being able to say, hey, no, I don't want to do that, and feel calm, and like not like it's a big deal or it's necessarily going to cause a conflict. So exposure work helps us reprogram by doing incremental work over time. And we have to be able to get this right to stop people pleasing. And what I highly recommend doing is, again, checking out that course for free for 7 days, where it will literally take you through that experience. And then number 4 is you have to actually look at the cost of people pleasing. Now, we started this video with actually talking about it, but it's one thing to talk about it at a high level in passing and for your conscious mind to logically comprehend it, versus for us to sit down and write out our personal costs in our own lives. Because when we do that, all memories that we're evoking when we write out our personal past experiences with people pleasing, all memory is stored with emotion. And it's contained with an imagery at the same time. So when we write out old memories, what we're actually doing is soliciting, in a way, emotion and imagery. And those are the languages of the subconscious mind. So when we can sit down and actually write out stuff and feel about it, we're using our conscious mind to speak to our subconscious mind, which is where these patterns of people pleasing exist. If it was just a conscious process, we would be able to overcome these things so much more easily. And so this is a really important dynamic. And the more we do this, we move the needle out of people pleasing and more into authenticity in our lives, our relationships, our connections, and more into feeling strong and empowered and safe to set boundaries and to speak up and share our truth with other people. And it's such an important thing, not just for our own personal lives, but for us to avoid all the costs, avoid the things like burnout and resentment and frustration, and feeling unseen and unheard or isolated, or that nobody's really caring for us. And a lot of the time you feel that way because you're not caring for yourself and showing yourself and sharing your needs. And so they so easily can go overlooked. And I really want to stress that, because I know a lot of fearful avoidance and anxious preoccupied specifically can really struggle with this. And it's really important work you'll do for yourself as a person, and also in your romantic relationships and all other relationships long-term. So again, you can check out our boundaries course. I hope this makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for sharing and for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video.